So you turn on the hot water first thing in the morning and you get hit with that rotten egg smell. It's nasty. You're wondering if something died in your pipes, or if your water heater is on its last legs. Here's the thing. That smell is actually a clue to a much bigger problem happening inside your tank right now. And if you ignore it, you're looking at a dead water heater and a flooded utility room way sooner than you think. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to get rid of that sulfur smell and at the same time, add up to 20 extra years of life to your water heater. All by replacing one single part that most homeowners have never even heard of. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share a secret about water heater warranties that could save you over $1,000. Let's get into it. This whole job comes down to one component called the anode rod. It's cheap, it's easy to swap once you know how, and it solves both problems at the same time, the smell and the lifespan. This is genuinely one of the highest value plumbing fixes you can do in an afternoon. So let's start by understanding what this thing actually is and why it matters so much. Inside your water heater tank, hanging down from the top, there's a long metal rod, usually 3/4 of an inch thick and about 3 to 4 feet long. That's your anode rod. Its entire job is to corrode on purpose so your steel tank doesn't have to. The technical term is sacrificial anode, and that name tells you everything. The rod sacrifices itself to protect the tank walls from rusting. Think of it like a bodyguard that takes every punch so the person it's protecting never gets hit. Most water heaters come from the factory with a magnesium anode rod. Magnesium is more reactive than steel, so the corrosive elements in your water attack the rod first and leave the tank alone. The problem is that rod doesn't last forever. On average, it's consumed in about 3 to 5 years. If you have a water softener, it can chew through that rod in as little as 2 years, because softened water is more aggressive. Once the rod is gone, eaten down to nothing but a thin wire core, your tank becomes the target. It starts rusting from the inside out, and once that process starts, there's no reversing it. The clock is ticking toward a leak, and a leak means a new water heater, to the tune of $1,500 or more installed. Now, about that rotten egg smell. Here's what's happening. If your hot water smells like sulfur, but your cold water is perfectly fine, the problem isn't your water supply. It's a chemical reaction happening inside the tank. Sulfate-reducing bacteria, which are naturally present in many water supplies, react with the magnesium anode rod and produce hydrogen sulfide gas. That's your rotten egg smell. It's most common on well water in homes with water softeners. And you'll notice it's worst first thing in the morning or after the water has been sitting in the tank for several hours. The fix is simple. Change the type of anode rod. But I'll get to your options in a minute. First, let's walk through the process step by step. Before you touch anything on that water heater, you need to shut off the energy source. If you have an electric water heater, go to your breaker panel and flip off the breaker dedicated to the water heater. It's usually a double-pole 30-amp breaker, and it should be labeled. If it's not labeled, now is a great time to figure out which one it is. Flip it off and verify the unit has no power. If you have a gas water heater, turn the gas control valve to the off position or the pilot setting. You do not want that burner firing while you're working with a partially empty tank. That can overheat the elements or damage the tank lining. Once the power or gas is off, shut off the cold water supply valve at the top of the heater. It's almost always on the right side as you face the unit. Turn it clockwise until it stops. If you've got a ball valve, the kind with a lever handle, turn it 90 degrees so the handle is perpendicular to the pipe. That's your closed position. Give it a minute, then open a hot water faucet at a nearby sink. If the flow slows to a trickle and stops, your supply is shut off and you're good to go. If it keeps running, your valve might not be seating properly, and you may need to shut off the main water supply to the house instead. Now you're going to partially drain the tank. Connect a standard garden hose to the drain valve at the bottom of the water heater. Run that hose to a floor drain, a utility sink, or outside if you can reach. Open the drain valve. Some are a simple turn handle. Others need a flathead screwdriver. You don't need to drain the whole tank right now. Just let out about 5 to 10 gallons. You want to drop the water level below the top of the tank where the anode rod sits. This keeps you from getting a face full of hot water when you pull the rod out. A good rule of thumb is to drain for about 3 to 5 minutes. And remember, this water is hot. Don't let kids or pets near that hose. I've seen guys get careless with this and end up with a burned hand. Respect the temperature. Now, if this kind of practical plumbing knowledge is something you want more of, I have written a guide called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes that will save you $10,000. It is packed with repairs you can do yourself this weekend without calling a plumber. Scan the QR code right now or check the first link below. All right, let us continue. Here's where the real work happens. You need to find the anode rod. On most water heaters, it's threaded into the top of the tank. Look for a hex head fitting on top. It's usually about 1 1/16 inches across. Sometimes it's visible right on top of the unit, and sometimes the manufacturer hides it under the sheet metal top cover. If you don't see it right away, check your owner's manual or look for a small plastic cap on top that you can pop off. Now here's the honest truth about removing an anode rod. It's tight. These things are installed at the factory with machine torque, and then they sit there corroding and basically welding themselves in place for years. You're going to need a 1 1/16 inch socket. A deep socket works best, and a breaker bar. Not a regular ratchet. A breaker bar, the longer the better. I use a 24-inch breaker bar, and sometimes I still need a cheater pipe over the end for extra leverage. Before you start cranking on it, you need to stabilize the tank. Have a buddy hold the tank, or use a strap around the unit to keep it from spinning. Some guys wedge a 2x4 between the plumbing connections and a wall stud to brace it. Put the socket on the hex head, position your breaker bar, and turn counterclockwise. It might take some serious effort to break it free. Don't be surprised if it feels like it won't budge at first. Give it steady, firm pressure, not sharp, jerky movements. Once it breaks loose, it'll turn freely and you can unscrew it by hand the rest of the way. Pull the rod straight up out of the tank. If you have low ceilings and the rod won't come out because there isn't enough clearance, don't panic. That's actually a common issue, and segmented anode rods exist for exactly this reason. They're the same rod, but made in sections connected by short cables, so you can pull them out in tight spaces. Keep that in mind for the replacement too. Take a good look at that old rod. This is going to tell you a lot about what's happening inside your tank. A healthy rod that still has life left will be mostly intact. You'll see pitting and some corrosion, but there's still solid metal there. What you're looking for is a rod that's been eaten down to the wire core. If all you see is a thin steel cable with chunks of calcium and corroded metal hanging off it, that rod is done. It's been done for a while, and your tank has been unprotected. If the rod is completely gone, like just a wire with almost nothing on it, you want to check the inside of the tank opening with a flashlight. Look for rust flakes or heavy scaling on the tank walls. If the tank walls are already heavily corroded, a new rod will slow the process, but may not save a tank that's too far gone. For your replacement, you've got 3 main options. First is a standard magnesium rod. These run about $15 to $20 and work fine if you don't have sulfur smell issues and your water isn't too aggressive. Second is an aluminum zinc rod. This is the go-to solution for the rotten egg smell. The aluminum zinc combination doesn't react the same way with sulfate-reducing bacteria, so it eliminates the hydrogen sulfide production. These run about $20 to $40. Third, and this is the premium option, is a powered anode rod, also called an impressed current anode. This is an electronic rod that uses a small electrical current to protect the tank instead of sacrificing metal. Because it doesn't corrode at all, it effectively never needs replacing. These run about $100 to $150, which sounds like a lot until you compare it to $1,500 or more for a new water heater. If you want the longest possible life out of your tank and you want the smell gone permanently, the powered rod is the best investment you can make. Installing the new rod is straightforward. Wrap the threads of your new anode rod with 4 or 5 wraps of Teflon tape, the white plumber's tape. Wind it clockwise around the thread so it doesn't unravel when you thread the rod in. Lower the rod straight down into the tank opening. If you're using a segmented rod, feed it in one section at a time. Thread it in by hand first, clockwise, until it's snug. Then tighten it with your socket and breaker bar. You don't need to go crazy here. Snug it down firmly, then about another half turn past hand tight. Over-tightening can crack the fitting or damage the tank's glass lining around the port. If you're installing a powered anode, follow the manufacturer's instructions for the electrical connection. Most of them just plug into a standard outlet and have a small control module that sits on top of the heater. Since you've already got water drained out of the tank, this is the perfect time to flush out sediment. Sediment is the gritty calcium and mineral buildup that settles at the bottom of your tank over time. It reduces efficiency, makes your heater work harder, and can cause popping and rumbling noises. With the drain valve still open and the hose attached, briefly open the cold water supply valve for about 15 to 20 seconds. This stirs up the sediment at the bottom and pushes it out through the hose. Close the supply, let it drain for a minute, and then repeat 2 or 3 more times. You'll see the water coming out of the hose go from cloudy or sandy to mostly clear. Once it's running pretty clean, close the drain valve. You just knocked out 2 maintenance jobs in one shot. I always tell people, if you're already in there doing the anode rod, flush the sediment too. It takes 5 extra minutes and it's free. Now close the drain valve, make sure it's snug, and remove the hose. Open the cold water supply valve all the way to start refilling the tank. Here's a critical step that people skip. Go to a hot water faucet upstairs or wherever your highest fixture is and open it. Leave it running. As the tank fills, air is going to get trapped inside, and that open faucet gives the air somewhere to escape. You'll hear sputtering and spitting from the faucet. That's normal. Once you get a steady stream of water with no air, close that faucet. Wait for the tank to fill completely. You'll know it's full when that faucet runs smooth and steady with no air burps. Only then do you restore power. Flip the breaker back on for electric, or turn the gas valve back to the on position and relight the pilot if needed. Give the tank about 30 to 45 minutes to heat up, then check your drain valve and the anode rod port on top for any drips. A small weep usually means you need another quarter turn on the fitting. A steady drip means pull it out and retape the threads. Let's go over some issues you might run into and how to deal with them. First up, the anode rod won't break loose. This is the #1 frustration. If your breaker bar isn't doing it, slide a 3-foot piece of iron pipe over the handle as a cheater bar. Make sure the tank is braced well so it doesn't tip or spin. Steady pressure, not jerking. If it still won't move, a few taps on the breaker bar handle with a rubber mallet while applying turning pressure can help shock the threads free. I've had rods that took 10 minutes of patient work to break loose. Don't give up. Second, the rod is stuck and spinning the whole tank. This means you need a better bracing system. Have someone physically hold the tank or strap it to the wall studs with a ratchet strap. On some installations, the plumbing connections alone won't keep the tank from rotating. Third, you still smell sulfur after installing the new aluminum zinc rod. Give it about 2 weeks. The bacteria inside the tank need time to die off and flush out. Run your hot water frequently during that time. If the smell persists after 2 weeks, You may want to do a hydrogen peroxide flush. Pour 2 to 3 pints of 3% hydrogen peroxide into the tank through the anode rod opening. Fill the tank, let it sit for 2 hours, then flush it out. That'll kill the remaining bacteria. Fourth, water leaking from around the anode rod port after installation. Pull the rod back out, clean the threads on both the rod and the tank fitting. Apply fresh Teflon tape, 6 wraps this time, and reinstall. Make sure you're not cross-threading it when you start it by hand. Fifth, you hear popping or rumbling noises after the job. That usually means there's still sediment at the bottom. Do another flush cycle. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 rounds to get the heavy stuff out, especially if the tank has never been flushed before. Follow the steps we covered, and you should avoid most of these headaches. All right, here's that bonus tip I promised you at the start, and this one is a genuine money saver. Have you ever wondered why some water heaters come with a 6-year warranty and others come with a 12-year warranty, but they look almost identical on the outside? Here's the secret the manufacturers don't advertise. In most cases, the tank itself is the exact same tank. The difference is the anode rod. The longer warranty models come with a thicker anode rod, or sometimes 2 anode rods, which means the sacrificial protection lasts longer before the tank is exposed. That's it. That's what you're paying the premium for. So instead of spending $300 or $400 extra for the 12-year warranty model, buy the 6-year model and replace the anode rod yourself every 3 to 5 years for $15 to $40 a pop. Or better yet, install a powered anode rod for $100 to $150, and you've essentially given yourself a lifetime of tank protection for a fraction of the cost. I do this on every water heater I install, and I tell every homeowner the same thing. It's the best kept secret in the water heater industry. All right, that is the full breakdown. If this was useful, you will love the full book. 50 step-by-step plumbing fixes with diagrams, all in one guide. Link is below. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next video. Thanks for watching.